Yo, what is good, camp believers and high performers? Welcome to another episode of the Can't Believe I Made It podcast. You know, it's your boy, Desi Abeda. So for today's Mentorship Monday episode, I wanted to hit us with something that I had posted a couple days ago. Now, for those that don't know, I have been on an adventure since my son was here. This past June, I ended up signing on with Red Bull, another glorious opportunity to work with high-level people and high-performing athletes, dancers, and other types of talent. And the one thing that I'm seeing across the board as I get into a lot of collaboration with a lot of these people is that they have these characteristics about them. I saw it from an athlete level, I definitely saw it. But now that I'm working with not only just the individuals themselves, athletes, dancers, talent, but also collaborating and coordinating with the people who are guiding them through their process in their given field. And what I think is really fantastic about signing on with who I did is they really promote an entrepreneurial spirit. So everyone that I've been able to get in touch with, there's a value system that most people have, and one that I'm really enjoying seeing. So for today's episode, I wanted to ask you, if you are someone who's looking to become unstoppable, I want to teach you the 5 characteristics of grit and how you can begin to develop this for yourself in your own journey to be unstoppable. Yo, what up? You've heard how every superhero has their origin story, right? Well, welcome to the Can't Believe I Made It podcast. I am your host, Desi Abeda. I'm a high performance mentor, registered dietitian, and family man. Tune in as we explore the high performance habits of high performers, their origin story, and how they went from disbelief to belief in their own hero's journey, where they got to a point and shouted, "Can't believe I made it." Enjoy the episode. Man, it never fails. WuTang Forever. If you know, you know. Okay, so I had posted about this a couple days ago.
Yo, what up?
And you've heard how every superhero has their origin story, right? Well, welcome to the Can't Believe I Made It podcast. I am your host, Desi Abeda. I'm a high performance mentor, registered dietitian, and family man. Tune in as we explore the high performance habits of high performers, their origin story, and how they went from disbelief to belief in their own hero's journey, where they got to a point and shouted, "Can't believe I made it." Enjoy the episode. Man, WuTang Forever. If you know, you know. Okay, so over the past couple weeks, I've been taking vlogs of some of the things that I've been doing and some of the places that I've been, and also with some of the people that I've been able to collaborate with as we continually just work towards connection and doing things at a high level. And one of the posts that I threw out really had a callback to episode 73. And so for those who have no idea what I'm talking about, episode 73 ran through one of probably one of my favorite TED Talks from Angela Duckworth about grit. And so if you have no idea what I'm talking about, make sure that you press pause right now and go back to episode 73 and make sure that you give it a listen, because a lot of what Angela Duckworth is saying in a lot of her research and her book, The Power of Grit, and even in just her overall messaging, is that it's not so much talent that provides people with an opportunity to get to a place where they're increasing their trajectory and where they get to a place where they've gotten to the top of their given field. It's not talent, but rather grit. And as we break down grit a little bit more, and one of the things that I thought was incredibly advantageous in her research was bringing it back to what is it that we as individuals who are looking to engage in more self-improvement, or for individuals who are looking to get that step ahead of themselves and possibly others, what can we all be doing? Well, she broke down the research for us. And for me, you know, as your high performance mentor and mental performance coach, for me, it goes back to systems. And so I wanted to walk you through the 5 characteristics today here in our Mentorship Monday episode, just so that you can start to pull some time aside to devote more access to not only just the education, but more so the application. But also at the same time, do a really nice gut check. what areas do I need to improve on and what areas am I flourishing in? All right. So the first characteristic that we're going to run through is courage. Because the more courageous you are, the more grit you have. And because there is a direct correlation between the two, your openness to failure and your ability to keep going is how courage gets developed. There's a theme that I want you to be aware of as I walk you through these characteristics. Okay. There's a word. I don't want to give it to you because I want you to be listening intentionally, but there's a word or a phrase that I'm going to be constantly preaching back to you. And towards the end, we're going to really try to bring it full circle with what you can be doing for yourself. And so going back to courage, because there is that direct correlation, your openness to failure and developing systems to help you to keep going are two really big factors in developing your overall courage. So I need to ask you this question, and I'll ask you questions throughout with each of these characteristics. But going back to courage, if you look at yourself with your openness to fail and your openness to continue to keep going, let's ask yourselves, are you courageous? Now, number two, conscientiousness. I've had to say this like 3 times and I still butchered it. Conscientiousness. One's ability to keep themselves self-disciplined throughout the ups and downs of life, which I think to a larger degree, every single one of us listening to this podcast, possibly watching this podcast, we're all in the same boat here, right? We have all experienced those ups and downs. But with this type of characteristic, with conscientiousness, it affirms our regularity to stay on course. This is why systems are absolutely huge. I've mentioned this a couple times, and I'm forgetting where this was actually said. But one of the quotes rather that I heard that were incredibly motivating for me and affirming for me to be like, damn, like, okay, cool, I'm on path here, was going back to the idea that you're never going to rise to your goals. You're going to fall to the systems, because I feel like it gives us a really great opportunity, a really good look into allowing life's ups and downs and being okay with the idea that as you continually build systems, you're able to fall back on them. And so these are some things that we want to be aware of. And so I need to ask you a question about conscientiousness. Have you developed systems that are going to allow you to navigate the ups and downs and that are going to affirm the regularity to stay on course? So let's hit you with our third one, perseverance. I'm going to bring in a quote that I never thought that I would ever say on this freaking podcast. I never thought this person's name would ever get mentioned, but you know what? It's a whole movie about the hero's journey. So yes, for all of you thinking, is Desi about to quote Rocky Balboa? I 100% am right now. Okay, we all know what perseverance is. And I feel like this quote is something that I think is important for us to understand from the standpoint of what systems, what communities, what things do I have in place that will allow me to get back up when I get hit? All right, so let's go ahead and read you the quote. Life is not about how hard of a hit you can give. It's about how many you can take and still keep moving forward. Again, I never thought that I would be quoting Rocky Balboa, but here we are on a Mentorship Monday on the Can't Believe I Made It podcast. When we take perseverance into account, there's something that I like to think about as we think about being able to be hit and getting back up. The first thing that I think about, and I want you all to be thinking about, is regardless of how hard you're being hit, whether it's through life, a change in life, a change of pace, whatever that means for you, I want you to sit back and start taking a look truly at some of the areas of gratitude that you have about the progress that you have made up to this point. Because I think we're really, really good at exploring all of the things that are going incorrectly. And this is a huge reason why anytime that I'm jumping on with any of my high-level clients in our one-to-one or group programs, the first thing that we're starting off with is like, hey, I know that we got a bunch to talk about today, but let's go ahead and start with 1 or 2 areas that you feel like you're progressing. And I feel like this has actually been on repeat a lot over the past couple months. Sometimes maintenance is progress. Sometimes being able to coast with where you are right now to prove yourself that you have the systems, that you have the tactics, the habits, and the rituals to help you to keep going, to increase that trajectory. Sometimes maintenance is progress. Okay. And so when we bring this back to the idea of perseverance, your ability to persevere through some of your negative self-talk, some of the ups and downs of life, is directly proportional to your systems. Who do you have in your environment? What does your environment look like? Are you primed to go do that thing each and every day? These are the questions that we need to ask ourselves in order for you to actually engage in more and better perseverance. Let's go to our fourth one, optimism. We all know what optimism is. Okay. We all know that it's the half, or it's the glass half full approach. Okay. But let's break down the word itself. The word optimism comes from the word hope. And hope helps a person get up from their fall, even when courage, conscientiousness, perseverance, and endurance cannot. You see, we're playing back in these characteristics because they all really play on one another, and they allow, they're kind of like a really good team of five. You know, the whole reason why I wanted to do a podcast on this was directly proportional to actually a post that I had said, hey, surround yourself by five people who are courageous, conscientious, who persevere, who are optimists, and who have passion, and you're going to become the sixth. Okay, so in the same way that we're really trying to cue our environment towards success, these five characteristics are all going to play off one another. So if you are able to be one of those individuals, again, and I'm not saying like no matter what, toxic positivity, I know that's a really big thing now. I'm trying to help you to understand that if there are things that you want to improve on, and maybe some things that you're unhappy with from the standpoint of where your life is, it's okay to acknowledge them, but I want you to acknowledge them through the frame of that growth mindset. You might have limitations, you might have barriers, and where is the opportunity in this process? This is the push that I want you to be thinking about. And the last one is passion. What is grit if not passion? Because it's defined by courage, conscientiousness, perseverance, and endurance, and optimism. And to be honest, passion can't really take place without clarity. So we need to act accordingly. So if you have no idea where your passions lie, you have no idea where your value systems lie and what they have to do with how you spend your time, who you spend your time with, this is a good gut check time. Because our big takeaway in these characteristics is, first, there's a theme that we talked about. A lot of it had to do with being okay and being open to failure. And let me be honest, failure is not an easy thing. We get in our heads a lot. We're really good about talking about all the areas that we suck at, or all the areas in which maybe we're not improving. But that's easy. It's easy to downplay what you've been doing up to this point. It's easy to talk shit to yourself about all the areas in which you haven't improved. That part's easy. What I'm asking you to do right now is to develop a growth mindset centered around being open to failure. Because if you are able to go out and fail, pick yourself back up, understand and learn what caused the failure, bring in the people, bring in the things that allow you to continue to increase that trajectory, really beautiful things can happen. And so here's our big takeaway. Don't be afraid to fail. Because it might put you exactly where you need to be. And if you need some background on what we're going over here, I want to encourage you to go back to episode 73 if you want to learn more about Angela Duckworth's work. It's a book that I stumbled across that really released the shackles of my own expectations, centered around not being talented enough, not being intelligent enough, whatever that meant, because the things that I can do, the things that I can improve on, the things that we can all improve on is your level of courage, your level of conscientiousness, your ability to persevere, your optimism, and your passion. I love y'all. I'll catch you on the next one. Happy motherfreaking Monday.